Hey guys, this is the Holy Vible coming at you for a Vi versus Fiora top gameplay. This will be more of an instructional thing where it should elaborate on the matchup in top lane. It is very difficult for Vi given the fact that Fiora pretty consistently has the ability to beat you in fights unless you're stronger than her through items or levels, and her parry makes it rather difficult. So what I do is I like to use my E on the first minion just to test and see if the opponent has bone plating and to proc it. E used on the minions is really good for poke damage and procking your blast shield for trades. As you can see, I took kind of a bad trade. Vi isn't really a champion until level 3 or maybe 2. If you hit 2 first and you take Q, you have the ability to go in quickly for a trade, but once again, you're not really a champion until 3, so it's kind of awkward. We end up just pushing in a bit. We can't beat Fiora anyway, so just proc her bone plating, get a little bit of damage off. It's fine. We have more minions than her, and early level minions kind of destroy you, so we should be okay to trade. She uses her parry early for damage, so I have the ability to tap my Q there. It's minimal damage, but it gives a little bit, and it procs the W denting blows. However, because it attack speed slows, it is difficult to get the third auto. The Shaco and I know that Xin Zhao started bottom side and is pathing up, so we use the Fog of War to get into this bush, and we're just going to cheese him when he goes for his full clear on his Krugs right here. He goes in, should be a free Q, and we 2-man him. He doesn't flash, free kill. We get an XP lead for being in the area of a kill, and the wave is slow pushing back to us. So we're in a good state right here. Normally I go barrier instead of ghost into this matchup, or fighting Aurelia, Jax, Akali, because normally they like to all in very frequently, and barrier gives you a little bit more survivability, and you can bait with it pretty well. Fiora goes aggressive with my Shaco top. We get a free flash. Here I should have let the wave slow push to me, but I end up pushing it anyway. I could have even waited for the Shaco to leave to get solo experience, but it's not that big of a deal. Right there I walk up into range to try to cancel her back with an E on a minion, but it wouldn't have hit, so I didn't end up using it. We have to push this in really hard. It's scary because Fiora just TP'd in. Even with the minions, she does far too much damage. So I end up queuing away. When Fiora hits you with her Q, partially her Q cooldown is refunded, so I flashed to be better safe than sorry, but it most likely wasn't back up. But no need to give her a free kill either ways. Here, with my recall, I have the perfect money to buy plated steel caps or the classic ninja tabby. The entire enemy team is AD, and Fiora, a majority of her damage that isn't coming from vitals is auto attack. Her Q counts as an auto attack, E is an auto attack reset with 2 hits, and crazily enough, her auto attack damage counts as auto attacks. So it's a very beneficial purchase into this matchup. Into other champions such as, I don't know, everybody else, I would go normally damage, but Fiora, Jax, Aurelia are pretty scary, so it's better to try to keep them down while you can early on. No need to try to walk into her. She's got a level advantage just due to the sheer amount of minions. Here we're probably going to E to proc her bone plating again. Perfect. I shouldn't have walked up there, but she used her W, so I get a free Q once again. It's kind of silly. I don't really know why she's doing this. She's got a fat wave, and we're not level 6 yet. I just E the wave to get those 2 minions in the back. She starts stepping back, so what I do is I trim the wave a little bit, walk up to the bush to get a freeze. As you can see, I have 3 points in my E. This is because 2 E's will one-shot the backline minions, the casters, And after this, you can max either Q or W, and it's far more beneficial because maxing E and Q both increases the damage by 20 or 25 respectively. So here, I didn't mention it, but we saw Xin Zhao on my ward that I put in the bush, top middle one. He's currently sitting in this bush above me. So I pretend to go in here, and I go back, attempting to bait Xin Zhao's W or to cancel his recall, and or Fiora parry, but nothing happens. We see Zed walking over, so I anticipate that I'm going to get dove, hence the assistance ping, not like anyone's here to help. Instead, I walk over to try to catch him in the act. We see Fiora recalling and him stepping back, so it doesn't look like I was getting dove. Xin Zhao shows up on the far right of the minimap, and I catch the last couple minions. I expected to lose all of them anyway, so I wasn't too disappointed. We saw Fiora recall, so here I try to hard push in the wave, just to get everything in so that it can potentially bounce back to me if I get it in fast enough. We know jungler's not here. Fiora's pretty scary, and she'll have a recall on us. Here I just check to see if there's a control ward. There weren't any minions to push right at that time anyway. Here we auto twice and then E so that we get the denting blows attack speed to clear the rest of the wave faster. Just try to push it in, and then we're going to leave. I like to personally max my W second into Fiora or most tanks like Ornn or Sion, um, Garen, Darius, because it allows you to have more consistent damage consistently. I also go Blade of the Ruined King currently, and this allows me to get more auto attacks off, and the armor shred from it allows the Blade of the Ruined King passive to also do more damage. We see Xin Zhao bottom, so I'm not too scared of the Fiora. So just going top, no biggie. We know that Xin Zhao's not here, so I'm gonna go for a little trade, I believe, just to see what I can do. Limit test a little bit. I get absolutely worked, and I also walk into her parry like a buffoon. So now I'm at a third HP the second I get back to lane. Question mark ping my idiocy there. Just seeing what we can do. As you can see, Fiora is significantly stronger. I also didn't use my blast shield properly, so that is my fault. So here I go for 3 autos. Katarina pings that she's coming up. Fiora just used her W on me, and I thought the cooldown was longer, so I go for an ulti here. She unfortunately lives with 1 HP, and I get gooned upon. So there is a misplay for me, misreading the cooldown of her W. As I look back on the replay, it came up, and it was up for 2 seconds by the time I used that ultimate. So I did mistime it a little bit. Here I go for heal cut for Fiora W, and they have a Yumi, so I think it would be beneficial. In hindsight, Bramble Vest may have been better, given the fact that they're all AD, but personally, I prefer the damage over the armor, so it kind of comes down to personal preference, but I think it's better to have damage on Vi than Thornmail. So here the wave's pushing to me. I have no need to push it, but I enjoy pushing, and I don't like being stuck up to my tower the whole game. I see that Fiora just W'd and Shaco's around top, so we can look for a kill here. I see him walking. I charge my Q in her face, and I wait for her dash, and then I hit it with it. That way she doesn't have the ability to avoid my Q with her Q if it's already on cooldown. I flash just to secure this kill. Didn't anticipate Shaco was in range of his E, and so I just secure it, which I'm not complaining about. My flash isn't super beneficial, to be honest. It is a good move, but it's not detrimental to have on Vi, given that she has her Q gap closer. Here I told my Shaco to go down to Rift Herald. I was going to take a plate and then leave. I walk down into the Xin Zhao. He flashes in front of my Q direction, and I greed my Q a little bit, so he ends up killing me. There's mistake number 2 from me. That was my mistake. He flashed in front of my Q direction, which was very good, but then I could have let go of my Q, but I thought I would have run into the wall at the time, so I didn't let it rip, and then I got canceled by his third Q. So that is my mistake. I misplayed that pretty bad. I also didn't anticipate Xin Zhao to be up top again because I hadn't been tracking him for quite a while. Unfortunately, Fiora most likely will get a lot of plates from this just because I misplayed and she came back right at that time. So right now we are 1-2-1, 72 CS. Fiora has 2 plates. I believe I have 1. We're about even in strength based on kills, minions, etc. So here I saw her Q, proc bone plating. I get the 3 hits of denting blows onto the minion, and then I step back for the attack speed. I don't engage because I don't have cooldowns. Here I say I'm going to miss her with my Q to bait her W. So I charge it in her face, avoid, she dashes away, but I still am in range of R. Lethal tempo procs, and I'm able to fight both her and the Xin Zhao. I walk into the bush to cancel an auto attack with Fog of War, and I live on 13 health because I had a potion running. So the bad part of VIQ is that it's so telegraphed that most players can just actively avoid it, or in Fiora's case, parry it, because they see it coming from a mile away because you're going to charge it up in their face. On the upside, however, VIQ is very telegraphed. So you can utilize that to bait an ability or bait a dodge or something. So in that case, I charged it in her face deliberately so that she would parry and I could gap close for free without being scared that she was going to dodge it or parry it. This gave me the chance to get in there and hit her. This is why I personally don't max Q in this matchup, because if she ever blocks it or just dodges it, or if I just miss it, you lose. She will outdamage you, she has more consistent damage than you, etc. So I like maxing W second because I go Blade of the Ruin King for dual power, gives you consistent dueling, it gives you more attack speed, which means more blast shield procs, because every time you proc your W, you get cooldown back on blast shield passive, and I max my E up to 3 points, so that I have more auto attack resets, meaning more Blade of the Ruin King. Here is another tip with Vi. Similar to fighting a Scion or a Garen, not really Garen, mostly Scion, but you can't charge your Q in the opponent's face. Why? Because it's telegraphed, yada yada. I already went over this. If you're standing in a bush, the opponent can't see you charging it, so they just have to react to you coming at them. So here, I'm just waiting to see if Fiora is going to Q. She ends up doing so, and then I charge up my Q. She's not moving, free hit. I get my full combo. Lethal tempo gives me a little extra range for the auto attack, and I just blast her. We know that Xin Zhao should be in the area, and crazily enough, there he is. I can't fight him under tower, so I step up just to pretend like I'm going to. He full engages on me. I'm not actually scared of him, despite the red smite. I end up absolutely blasting him, even after canceling an auto attack, and I have my blast shield still up. So I didn't even play that fight overly well, and I still absolutely clobbered him just because of the Blade of the Ruined King lethal tempo. Here, I stop hitting the tower so that we deny as many minions as possible, and then I just take it for first tower. We just killed the Xin Zhao, so I go into his jungle with the Shaco to try to catch him on his way to red buff, in case he is, just to cheese him again, because we're dirty, grimy people like that. I just go here to wait by the blast cone in case he goes over. We see him pop the Rift Herald in bottom of the minimap, so I just leave. Not a super big deal. So at this point, we're at 15 minutes, almost 16. Laning phase is practically over. So there will be one more fight to show, and then that'll be the end of laning phase, because both towers are gone, and we're going to transition into mid-game very shortly. I end up going Divine Sunderer just for more damage, but Personally, Sunfire Cape is very, very strong um, for team fighting and solo fighting as well. So here, as you can see, E one-shot the backline. She Q'd in on me, so I try to get a tap Q. She dashes away, no biggie. I step down to not give her her ultimate Vital proc. Then I ulti because I knew she already W'd. Absolutely blasted. So there's the Fiora matchup with Lethal Tempo. I did get a little help. It wasn't exclusively a 1v1, but as you could see, I could destroy her for pretty much the remainder of the game. So it's very, very strong to build this way and play this way. Hopefully soon I will fight another Fiora and I will try different runes, different build, and you'll be able to see how it goes from there. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below.